15 foods that never expire. One drink mixes, e.g., lemonade, Kool-Aid, Tang. Stockpiling drink mixes is a no-brainer, especially in emergency situations. Water alone might not cut it when you're sick, dehydrated, or just plain miserable. That's where powdered drink mixes come in. They're lightweight, shelf-stable, and most importantly, they actually make it easier to stay hydrated. Plus, many of them pack a punch with some added vitamin C and a quick energy boost thanks to their sugar content. When you're running on fumes, that small boost can mean a lot. Forget about fancy pre-mixed stuff or even hot cocoa. You're preparing for survival, not a luxury vacation. Go for powdered versions of things like lemonade, Kool-Aid, or Tang. They last forever if you keep them sealed and stored in a cool, dry spot. You don't need electric appliances or fancy prep, just add water and you're good to go. These drink mixes also serve another purpose. They offer a psychological lift. During a crisis, the little comforts matter, and having something sweet and familiar to drink can go a long way in keeping morale intact. Stock up on a variety of flavors so you're not stuck with the same one day after day. It's simple, it's effective, and it's one of the easiest things to add to your stockpile. Ignore this, and you're missing out on a survival staple. 2. Baking soda. When it comes to survival essentials, baking soda is a no-brainer. This stuff doesn't expire, period. Its indefinite shelf life makes it one of the most reliable staples you can have. Stockpiling baking soda isn't just smart, it's necessary. Why? Because it does everything. Dealing with an upset stomach, baking soda can help neutralize acid and ease discomfort in no time. Forget about fancy antacids, this simple powder gets the job done. Need to clean your gear or deodorize your space? Baking soda works like a charm for scrubbing surfaces, removing odors, and keeping things fresh when resources are limited. To add to its list of uses, baking soda can even act as a makeshift shampoo alternative. Whether you've run out of hair products or you're managing personal hygiene in a tough situation, it's got your back. Long story short, baking soda is versatile, cheap, and essentially bulletproof in terms of storage. No worrying about spoilage means no constant rotation like with other supplies. You can buy it in bulk, stash it away, and rest easy knowing it'll still be there when you need it most. A versatile tool like this can cover so many bases in an emergency cleaning, personal care, even minor health fixes. Baking soda is the definition of a survival MVP. If it's not in your stockpile yet, it should be. 3. Vinegar. Vinegar is one of the most versatile items you can stockpile. It doesn't expire, doesn't spoil, and its uses are nearly endless. Why is it a must-have? First, it's a powerhouse for cleaning. Whether you need to disinfect surfaces, remove odors, or clean glass, vinegar gets the job done without any fancy or expensive cleaners. It's cheap, effective, and always reliable. Second, it's an essential ingredient in cooking and flavoring. Add it to marinades, dressings, sauces, or even soups. It infuses food with that tangy kick that can't be replaced. Plus, if you're into baking, it serves as a handy ingredient in certain recipes. But vinegar really shines when it comes to preservation. It's critical for canning and pickling, helping your produce last for months or even years. If you're prepping for emergencies, this feature alone makes vinegar worth its weight. You can turn fresh veggies into an extended food source quickly and easily. When stockpiling vinegar, don't just grab a few tiny bottles. Think bigger. A few gallons will go a long way. Go for white vinegar if you're looking for the most versatility. It's perfect for both cleaning and cooking. Apple cider vinegar works too, though it's more expensive and better suited for food uses. Bottom line? If you're serious about prepping, don't skip vinegar. It's the multi-tool of your pantry that lasts indefinitely and gets things done. 4. Maple syrup and honey. When it comes to foods that never expire, maple syrup and honey are two absolute staples you should have in your stockpile. If you're planning for long-term storage, these are no-brainers. Both of them can virtually last forever if you keep them unopened and properly stored. Honey, for example, is as close to immortal as food gets. It might crystallize over time, but don't be fooled, this doesn't mean it's gone bad. Crystallization is actually a natural process, and the honey is still perfectly good to consume. If the crystals bother you, just heat it gently to turn it back into liquid form. Or don't. You can still scoop and use honey as is in its crystallized state without any issue. Maple syrup is equally durable when stored correctly. Just make sure the container is sealed tightly, and it will remain fresh for years. Once opened, you'll need to refrigerate it, but until then, it's a set-it-and-forget-it pantry item. Forget wasting money on artificial syrups loaded with chemicals. Pure maple syrup is a natural alternative that won't spoil. The key to storing both honey and maple syrup long-term is keeping their containers airtight. Air exposure is the enemy here. And don't get lazy, check seals regularly to ensure no leaks. If handled properly, these sweeteners become vital survival foods useful for cooking, as sweeteners in drinks, or even for medicinal purposes like soothing a sore throat. Bottom line? Honey and maple syrup are versatile, indestructible, and deserve a reserved spot in your stockpile. Don't skip them. Whether you're prepping for a long haul or just want reliable pantry items, a couple of bottles of honey and syrup will go a long way. 5. Canned foods. Canned foods are a no-brainer when it comes to stockpiling. They're reliable, versatile, and practically indestructible if stored properly. The biggest perk? They can last over 10 years without spoiling. That's right, if you're serious about building a survival stash, canned foods should take priority. They're already cooked, so in a worst-case scenario, you can eat them straight out of the can. To keep your stockpile effective, you need to pay attention to storage. First rule, don't hoard cans that already look compromised. Bulging, dented, or rusting cans are red flags. They're disasters waiting to happen and could contain dangerous bacteria. Stick to clean, safe cans and store them in a dry, cool area. If you're letting them sit in a damp basement or under fluctuating temperatures, you're playing with fire. Rotate your stock every so often to keep things fresh, first in, first out. It's not hard, just use common sense. The beauty of canned foods is variety. Canned soups, vegetables, fruits, and even meats offer balance to your stockpile. Soups are great for compact, all-in-one meals. Vegetables and fruits provide essential nutrients you'll need in any survival situation. And don't overlook canned proteins. Things like tuna or chicken could be lifesavers when other fresh food has long vanished. Bottom line? Canned foods are the backbone of any emergency setup. They're shelf-stable, packed with vital nutrients, and simple to prepare. All you have to do is store them right and keep your inventory in good shape. Skip this step, and you're setting yourself up for failure. Stock smart, plan ahead, and trust in the power of a steel can to keep you and your family fed when it matters most. 6. Number 10. Canned foods, freeze-dried items. When it comes to long-term survival, 10 cans packed with freeze-dried goods are a powerhouse. These cans are built to last, often maintaining their quality for 20 to 25 years if stored properly. That means decades of worry-free food storage. Think dried eggs, tomato powder, powdered milk, or even freeze-dried meat. These essentials can ensure you've got nutritious options when fresh food isn't available. They're lightweight, nutritionally dense, and incredibly convenient. Why are they crucial? Once disaster hits, running to the store might not be an option. These canned foods keep you ready for emergencies without requiring constant rotation. Just stash and forget until you need them. Plus, freeze-dried items retain most of their original flavor and texture when rehydrated, so you're not stuck eating something unappetizing in a crisis. Here's a practical tip to prevent waste. Invest in a mix of large 10 cans for bulk needs and smaller cans for short-term or single-use applications. This way, you're not opening a huge can of powdered eggs and risking spoilage before you can finish it. Once opened, the shelf life of freeze-dried items drastically decreases, so plan your portions wisely. The only real downside is the initial cost. Freeze-dried cans aren't cheap, but think of it as an insurance policy. You pay up front for peace of mind down the road. Between their long shelf life, nutritional value, and versatility, 10 cans should absolutely be part of your stockpile. Waiting until it's too late to prepare is a mistake you don't want to live with. Get them now and be ready for anything. 7. Salt. Salt is one of the most essential items to stockpile because it never expires. Its longevity and versatility make it indispensable during any situation, especially emergencies. You're not just storing it for cooking purposes. Salt offers benefits far beyond the kitchen. Why stockpile salt? First, it's vital for health and preservation. Salt can be used to gargle for a sore throat, acting as a simple yet effective medicinal remedy. It also helps prevent infections in minor wounds or blisters, proving its usefulness in first aid situations. Additionally, if refrigeration fails during emergencies, salt becomes your best tool for preserving meat or other perishable foods. Without it, food spoilage could occur rapidly, leading to waste and more trouble during a crisis. Salt also holds value as a barter item. If resources become scarce, salt can be traded for other vital goods. Its universal importance ensures its demand is always high, making it a practical commodity to keep on hand. Storing salt is easy because it doesn't require special conditions. Keep it in a dry, airtight container and it'll stay usable forever. Avoid storage in humid or moist places, and salt will remain as good as the day you bought it. Whether it's iodized table salt, sea salt, or even rock salt, all types serve distinct purposes, so having a variety is a smart move. Bottom line, stockpile salt. It's cheap, durable, and critical for survival. When resources become limited, this humble mineral could end up saving your life or helping you sustain it longer than expected. Don't overlook it. 8 spices. Why stockpile? Spices may not seem essential, but when you're eating basic, bland food day in and day out, they make a world of difference. Salt, pepper, cinnamon, chili powder, these small things can turn boring meals into something tolerable. Sure, they won't keep their full potency forever, but even a weaker version is better than nothing when you're desperate for a kick of flavor. The reality spices are often imported. That means they're one of the first things to disappear during shipping turmoil or global crises. Once the supply chain breaks down, good luck finding your favorite seasonings. The convenience of grabbing a cheap container off the shelf won't exist when shelves are bare. Pro tip: buy whole spices instead of pre-ground ones, if possible. Whole peppercorns, cinnamon sticks, and nutmeg last much longer when stored properly in airtight containers, away from light and moisture. Grind them as needed for fresher flavor and a longer lifespan. Don't underestimate the value of variety when food supply is limited. The same rice and beans every day will wear you down mentally, but toss in some curry powder or garlic salt and it's a game changer. Having a stash of the right spices won't just keep meals edible, it might keep you sane. Final word? Stockpile wisely. Focus on versatile and staple seasonings, and don't go overboard. After all, you won't need 12 different kinds of paprika when the goal is survival, not gourmet. Spices are supplemental important, yes, but not a substitute for the essentials. Plan accordingly. 9. White sugar. White sugar is an absolute must-have for your stockpile. Why? Because it literally never goes bad if you store it correctly. That's right, indefinitely durable. Forget expiration dates, white sugar just doesn't spoil when kept dry. Bugs and moisture are your only real enemies here, so don't give them a chance to ruin something that could outlive you. When it comes to storing white sugar, keep it simple. Leave it in its original packaging and stick that inside a sealed container. Think plastic buckets with tight lids or even old-school metal popcorn tins. These will keep the sugar safe from any unwanted pests or humidity. If you plan long-term, make sure everything is airtight, nothing invites disaster like a cracked or loose lid. Now, what if your sugar gets a little hard over time? Don't panic. Hardened sugar isn't ruined, it's just inconvenient. Scrape it, crush it, or break it apart, it'll still do its job whether you're baking, sweetening coffee, or preserving food. Seriously, sugar doesn't lose its usability, no matter how rock solid it becomes. White sugar is also incredibly versatile for survival prepping. It doesn't introduce moisture into recipes or preservation methods and is perfect for canning, curing meats, or making comfort foods to keep morale up. Plus, as a barter item, it's invaluable when times are tough. Everyone craves sweetness, it's human nature. Bottom line? Stock up on white sugar. Store it properly, and you'll never find yourself missing this essential, long-lasting staple. Set it, forget it, and enjoy the peace of mind knowing that your sweet supply won't betray you in a pinch. It's a no-brainer for anyone prepping for the long haul. 10 beans. Dried beans. Beans are a survival food powerhouse. They offer unmatched nutrition and longevity, making them an essential item for any stockpile. Dried beans, when stored properly, can last indefinitely. That's right, if kept dry and pest-free, they'll outlive you. Packed with protein, fiber, and essential nutrients, they're a complete meal waiting to happen. No refrigeration, no problem. Beans were built for tough times. When preparing your stockpile, storage is everything. Toss those flimsy store bags right in the trash. Transfer your beans into airtight jars or sturdy plastic containers. Keep them in a cool, dry place where pests can't get to them. Got oxygen absorbers? Even better. Use them to extend the shelf life even further. And don't skimp on checking your stash periodically. Mold and bugs only need one moment of carelessness to ruin your stock. The best part about dried beans? They're versatile as hell. They pair perfectly with rice, creating a meal that provides all 9 essential amino acids your body needs. Not to mention, they can be spiced, seasoned, and cooked in countless ways. Into beans, black beans, kidney beans, choose whatever suits you. Regardless of type, they're a reliable, filling, and cost-effective food that'll sustain you through thick and thin. If you're serious about prepping for emergencies, stock up on beans. They're cheap, easy to store, and always there when you need them. Ignore them, and you're ignoring one of the most durable food options on the planet. Beans don't expire, and neither should your dedication to being prepared. 11. White rice, not brown rice. White rice is a powerhouse when it comes to long-term food storage. Unlike brown rice, which contains oils that lead to spoilage, white rice can last decades if stored properly. It's one of the easiest and most reliable staples to stockpile for emergencies. Why? Its shelf life is almost unmatched, and it's incredibly versatile. Whether you're making breakfast porridge, a side dish for dinner, or even using it as the base for a bigger meal, white rice delivers. For storage, don't leave it in the flimsy original packaging. Use airtight containers like plastic buckets or sealed jars to keep moisture, pests, and air out. This simple step ensures your rice will be there when you need it most. If you have oxygen absorbers, toss them in as well for extra protection. The beauty of white rice lies in its simplicity. It only needs boiling water and a flame to prepare. Even in survival situations, this can be a comfort food that's filling and energy-packed. Plus, if boiling water isn't an option, consider instant rice. It cooks instantly with just hot water, no boiling required. You don't want to overlook an easy-to-make option like this when convenience becomes key. Stockpiling white rice is a no-brainer. It's one of those foods that fits perfectly into any survival plan. Cheap? Check. Long-lasting? Check. Easy to cook? Check. Whether you're waiting out a storm, stuck without power, or dealing with a prolonged crisis, white rice should be a heavy hitter in your emergency food kit. Brown rice may sound healthier, but when survival is on the line, durability wins every time. Stock white rice and plenty of it. You'll thank yourself when the time comes. Conclusion. When it comes to building a reliable and long-lasting food stockpile, these 15 foods are your ultimate allies. Their impressive shelf lives, nutritional value, and adaptability make them indispensable for anyone prepping for emergencies, natural disasters, or just aiming to create a safety net for the future. From white sugar and dried beans to white rice and beyond, these staples aren't just about survival, they're about peace of mind. By storing them properly, keeping moisture, pests, and air at bay, you ensure a dependable food supply that will be ready whenever you need it most. Prepping is all about foresight. Choosing foods that never expire is a smart step towards self-sufficiency and resilience in uncertain times. Take the time now to stockpile these essentials, and you'll gain the confidence of knowing you're prepared for anything. Whether it's a storm, economic hardship, or an unexpected event, your stockpile will stand the test of time. Start today, future you will be thankful.